We're back with Leah Bernstein, president of Mountain Apple Company. So when coming to Hawaii, Leah, did you notice a huge difference in the music industry in the mainland and then in Hawaii?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The aloha spirit really does live throughout this place in whatever industry you're in, and there was a big difference between competitors, even to this day. You know, it's 27 years later, and even to this day, our competitors, you know, we still kiss and hug and love each other. And, you know, if I see that something is really selling well, we'll make sure to put it front and center in any stores that we have display control over, and make sure that the brand and the category of music is very strong, because that helps everyone.
What's the difference between your experience in the Mountain Apple Company in its first days and then now?
Oh, boy, that's a hard one. The biggest difference, I think, is the amount of employees we have and trying to keep peace amongst the internal culture. And we are like an ohana and like a family, and so it's really a wonderful thing. Everyone's very, very passionate. When I started with Mountain Apple, there were 3 of us, and now there's 25 of us, plus 9 independent reps. So sales reps. So it's a bigger culture, and it's a lot more difficult just to keep everything, all the moving parts, harmonious. I think that's the best word for it.
As you learned from John about the local market, what are some important lessons that he taught you in regards to being a part of the local music industry?
I think the most important thing that John pointed out to me right away was I get very excited and I'm very aggressive. When I want to do something, I just want to do it. I don't want to take the time to explain it to everyone down the food chain. And John was able to tell me that I was scaring people off and that they weren't willing to talk at all because I was just coming in too strong. So I learned to change a style, to change my style personally of how I would approach everyday requests.
What do you mean, you warn them first?
No, I would just come in a different approach. It would just be a much gentler and softer, instead of just, let's do this, isn't this great, and this is what's going to happen at the end. It would be, you know, if we do it this way, we can have this result. And people just, I think that is really one of the most important things, lessons I learned, and it's helped me live here more peacefully with everybody.
So do you think that it's harder to do business here in Hawaii than in the mainland?
I don't know if it's harder to do business here. We're much more removed, so we're always finding that even if the trend is happening and we're aware of it, we're still not in the trend. And I think that makes it easier in a lot of ways to be successful, because we can see how things are, which direction things are headed, and let them make their mistakes first, and then we pick up on the success stories and emulate that.
You know, people talk about communication being so key. Do you find that maybe some mainland leaders do come in here and they have their own communication style? You know, Hawaii has its culture and a different communication style as well. Do you think that might be a difference of why some people make it and don't? And if so, can you give us some tips on what you think would be the best way to effectively communicate with the locals?
I do think it makes a big difference on how you communicate and what you do here. The way you approach people, and I think most of us that come from the mainland, and I know I was one of them, I'm guilty, very guilty of this, is when I came here and I started working for John, I thought, oh my God, we can do this much better. I've done this on the mainland in this manner, and we can get this done much better and much more effectively, and these country bumpkins really don't know how to do it. And I find that everyone I meet that says anything like that or has that sentiment to me is here for a very short period of time. No one really ever lasts that thinks that they can teach Hawaii how to do it. Whatever it is, you know, whatever business it is, whatever thing, whatever you're trying to get done. So I think that the best way to communicate is to fit into the culture you're in and to see what advantages you're bringing to the table for the other party. It's always a win-win.
How do you guys define your roles between you and John?
Well, John is primarily creative, but John is a brilliant businessman as well. He was brought up in and around Henry Kaiser and his father doing a lot of business, and so whether he likes to admit it or not, his left brain, right brain, whichever brain it is. His business brain works just as well as his creative brain. I have a business mind. I don't have any creative talent at all. I can find middle C on a piano, but that's about the end of my musical talents. I'm a good listener. I love to listen to music, and I don't know if I can guess hits or not. I know good music compared to music that is not as refined. But I think that really the delineation is that I handle business affairs and John is in charge of creative, although he's very, very involved in the business and the decision making.
And then how long did it take you folks to kind of settle into your roles when you first started working together?
Probably in the first 6 months we figured out how to dance. That's really, and how not to step on each other's toes, not get in each other's way. It's pretty much gone on that way for a long time. And he can pick up for me anytime, I'm gone for any length of time. And unfortunately, I can't do what he does, but I can certainly keep the train on the tracks, moving down the tracks to success.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.